Hello everyone, my name is Bradley, I'm from the Vnish team, and if you're watching this, then most likely you have machines at your facility that should be making money right now, not just heating the air and spinning the meter. Well, on this channel we break down mining by the numbers, and today's reason is pretty serious. This week something happened on the network that affects everyone running even one machine. Most miners either missed it or misunderstood it. So let's break it down together. On June the 14th, something miners had been waiting months for finally happened. Network difficulty dropped by more than 10%. To be exact, 10.09% from 138.96 trillion to 124.93 trillion. According to Galaxy Research, this was the second largest drop in all of 2026 and the 11th largest in Bitcoin's entire history. Not this year, in its entire history. And I know what half of you are thinking. Okay, so difficulty dropped. So what? Well, I'll explain exactly what that means for you and why this may be the best window in the last 6 months. Difficulty, essentially, is how hard it is for the network to find a new block. The difficulty adjusts itself every 2016 blocks, which is roughly every 2 weeks. And the logic works like this. If all miners globally are pushing a lot of hash rate, blocks are found too quickly. So difficulty rises to keep blocks coming roughly once every 10 minutes. Hash rate leaves, machines shut down, blocks slow down, difficulty falls. Nobody adjusts this manually. It's not Bitmain, right? It's not the exchanges, not governments. It's just code, like a self-regulating mechanism. Imagine a door lock that adjusts its own stiffness depending on how many people are trying to break through it. Fewer people, easier to open for those who remain. And on June the 14th, that lock became 10% easier to crack. What this means for your specific machine is probably the main reason why you're here. Difficulty dropped, so every working machine now mines roughly 11% more Bitcoin, with the same hash rate, with the same electricity from the socket. No upgrade, no new firmware, no touching the hardware. Look at it this way. Yesterday, your S19 produced a certain number of Satoshis per day, right? Today, it produces 11% more, simply because part of the competition shut down and the network registered it. That's how the protocol works, and that's the beauty of it. The drop shouldn't be seen as a kind of market reversal. It's a consequence of the market, and to understand what to do next, you need to understand where it came from. Look at the details. This epoch lasted 15.6 days instead of the usual 14. 1.5 extra days. That means blocks were being found slower than normal, and blocks slow down in only one case, when there are fewer machines on the network. In June, Bitcoin dropped around 15%. At the low, it went below $60,000. Now, compare that with the average cost of mining one Bitcoin for public miners, around $90,000. $90,000, while the price was still below $60,000. So think about what happens to a farm that mines a coin for 90 and sells it for 60. It just burns money. By different estimates, 15 to 20% of the entire global fleet is currently operating at a loss. And some of them did the obvious thing, right? They shut down, some temporarily to wait it out, some permanently. Because there is another process happening here, and it is worth discussing separately. A whole wave of large public miners is moving from Bitcoin into AI, not because they fell out of love with mining somehow, but because they did the math. 10 megawatts running NVIDIA GPUs brings in roughly the same revenue as 100 megawatts mining Bitcoin. 10 versus 100. When you see the difference, you convert the facility for a tenant and you don't look back. And here's where it matters for you. The hash rate they remove doesn't come back. Their sites are not being replaced by new miners at the same speed. They leave and the network becomes less crowded as a result. That is why difficulty has been falling throughout the year. Not once, but structurally, right? February, minus 11%, March, minus 8%, June, minus 10%, 3 major drops in 6 months. That's not a coincidence, right? That's a structural change. So is this good or bad? It's bad because the reason is grim, right? The network is registering that mining became unprofitable for many people. This is a repricing, it's not a gift from the sky. Anyone selling you a difficulty drop as free money simply just didn't read the full story. But here's why it's good. When your competitor powers down their racks, their share of rewards doesn't disappear. Network rewards are a fixed pie, 3.125 Bitcoin per block, one block roughly every 10 minutes. The pie has not gone anywhere, there are simply fewer people at the table, and the slice that used to go to your neighbor is now split among those who remain, among you, right? If your farm is running, that is. And that's the whole point. In a bear market, money doesn't disappear, it just changes owners. It moves from those who shut down to those who endured. The only question is, which side are you on? So enough theory. What should you actually do this week? Well, I'd recommend 3 things. First, measure the actual joules per terahash across your entire fleet. I mean actual, not nameplate. Nameplate, by the way, is what the manufacturer promised under ideal conditions. You need the truth. How many watts each machine actually consumes and how many terahashes it actually produces today at this temperature in this room. Machines that draw more than they should, and there are almost always some, operating at a loss in the current economy and dragging down the entire fleet. You need to identify them by name. Second, recalculate your shutdown threshold for your own setup, not for the network average, right? That doesn't concern you. Use your electricity rate and the current hash price, which is now around $32 per petahash per day. By the way, notice this. In early June, it dropped below $30 near the bottom, and now it has already rebounded. Every electricity rate has its own break-even point. At 4 cents, you're profitable in almost any scenario. At 10 cents, shutdown. No magic can save you there. Between 5 and 7 cents is where the real fight happens. And there, every percentage point of efficiency counts. You need to know your own threshold by heart. Third, and right now this is more critical than usual, maintain uptime every hour. Look, the next adjustment is expected around June the 28th. Preliminary estimates suggest it will be close to zero, maybe slightly positive, because the network has already partially recovered. So this window of easier difficulty won't last forever. You'll have roughly 2 weeks when mining is easier than usual, and there are fewer competitors than usual. Downtime right now means missing exactly the kind of moment that you keep a farm running for. Every powered off hour in this window costs more than it does in calmer periods. And now, where the Vnish team fits into all of this. Firmware will not raise the Bitcoin price. It won't stop miners from moving into AI. It will not adjust difficulty. None of us controls that. But go back to these 3 points: actual joules per terahash, shutdown threshold, uptime. 2 of the 3 things that decide your outcome in this window are about efficiency and stability. Let's take a look at what Vnish does in plain terms. First, it removes the gap between what the chip can do and what the stock firmware gets out of it. Stock firmware gives you the nameplate result, right? But between nameplate performance and the real ceiling of the chip are the percentages that decide everything, especially when the economics are 90,000 production cost versus 60,000 price. Second, auto-tuning adjusts the machine to current conditions, not factory conditions. And third, if hashboard drops, recovery happens without manual intervention from you. That means the third point, uptime, holds itself. There's no magic. It's just a tool that pulls out the maximum of the hardware that you already own, exactly when this window pays for the most of it. So here's the bottom line. Difficulty dropped by 10%, and the network became friendlier to those who stayed. Competitors are leaving, some because they're losing money, some for AI, and their share moves to the machines still running. The window exists, but it is small, a couple of weeks until the next adjustment. And the winner here is not the one with, well, more money for new hardware, but the one whose machines run more efficiently and more stably on what they already have. So the real question is very simple here. Difficulty dropped. Are your machines catching this window, or are they standing in the facility while your neighbor takes what could have been yours? So I'd suggest go and check your farm. And if you want me to break down your model and your electricity rate in a separate video, write the model and the price per kilowatt in the comments.